I was the only kid in school. I bought my own car.
Really?
And a Chevy 2 convertible, yes. I was very popular with the women. They loved me.
You don't drink at all. I mean,
I
no
don't know.
alcohol.
I never drank. That's the
Yeah.
funny thing.
Yeah, that's
I
it.
mean,
Yeah.
and I know very little about alcohol, to be quite honest, but I sell so much. So I tell young people, if someone else can do it, you can as well.
各位朋友，今集同我哋一齊探討香港機遇嘅嘉賓呢，喺德國出世嘅猶太人，而家係我哋中國籍嘅香港人，蘭桂坊之父盛智文先生。Hi Alan。
Hi， 大家好。
大家好。
我係盛智文。
Oh, really?
真係。
Well, I know your son Jonathan can speak better Cantonese than you.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And,
he's fluent.
All right. Are you a strict father?
No. I never was a strict father, and that's something that I've always, because my style is never to be strict. Even I grew up not having strict parents. My father died when I was 7, so I really grew up myself, and so I was never strict.
Okay, so you leave him alone, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's the only way. If you're strict, it doesn't help. Trust me.
All right. Let me interview him someday
Good.
to find out from his angle.
Yeah.
All right. You're very famous, and you're very successful in business. A lot of people wondering, why did you run for the last election?
It's a very good question. I get asked that question all the time.
Yeah.
It's a funny thing. As everyone knows, I've done so much for Hong Kong. My whole life, basically, my whole adult life has been here in Hong Kong, and everything I could do, I will do to make Hong Kong better and better. And also my background with China, I've been in China for 45 years. I had my first office in Changsha, Hunan, 45 years ago, the old China. So I've seen everything change, and I've watched China grow there. And I understand the system very well, probably more than most Hong Kong people.
True. Yeah.
And so I saw, in the past, since 1997, LegCo itself was really not working.
Right.
I mean, because we had the Pan-Democrats at that time, and
Arguing all the time.
everything
not
was
passing the
argued.
bills, right?
Filibuster. I learned a new word, filibuster.
Okay.
Nothing could get passed,
Right,
because
right.
a bill that should take 1 or 2 days to get passed for government would take 3 months, 4 months, 5 months.
Or never.
Or never.
Right.
Or never.
Right.
And so I thought to myself, now that China came up with this new format for LegCo, 90 seats in LegCo from 70 seats and 40 seats in election committee.
Right.
So I thought to myself, it would be a good thing if somebody with a foreign face, I'm what they call an egg.
Yeah, an egg, right?
An egg. White on the outside, yellow on
Right,
the
not
inside.
a banana.
Not a banana.
The other way around,
That's
right?
the other way around.
Uh-huh.
And so I've just thought to myself, this new LegCo, I can, I've done so much. Maybe I'll try to have a seat, although it's very demanding because, I have so many things to do. I do so many things. I sit on so many boards and my businesses and all that. It would have been very, very difficult. The fact that I missed by 15 votes kind of is a blessing in disguise for me.
Yeah, blessing in disguise, right. And, actually, being one of the 51 is not easy at all, getting the nominations, right? Yeah. Well, you got 955 votes, which means 2/3 of us, including myself, voted for you. How do you feel about the results?
Well, I feel actually it was an honor to run for LegCo.
Okay.
I actually felt very, very special because, as you know, as you say, there was only 40 people in the election committee, and being one of the 1,500 is also very special because also we get to vote for the next chief executive, which is also very important for Hong Kong. This way, it's a blessing in disguise for me because I can continue to do the things that I do for Hong Kong behind the scenes.
And you were born in Germany, raised in Canada.
Yeah.
How did you end up in Hong Kong?
Everyone says I was born. Yeah, I was born in Germany, but I think I was 1 month old when we left because I'm not German. But people think, oh, he's German. No, my parents, after the war, were traveling, and I guess they were there for a short period of time. And so I was born there. And then I grew up in Canada, in Montreal, because my father died when I was 7 years old. And I was working while I was going to school. I was
at the age
delivering
of 10, right?
At the age of 10, I was delivering newspapers. And then when I was 12 years old, I got a job on the weekend also cleaning tables, a busboy in a restaurant, in a steakhouse. And so I was earning about $60 Canadian a week, you know. A week. So that was more than my teachers were earning, like $35. When I was 16 years old, I saved up enough money. I was the only kid in school. I bought my own car.
Really?
And a Chevy 2 convertible, yes. I was very popular with the women. They loved me.
Of course. That's why you were also in the business in the lingerie?
Yeah, well, when I graduated from high school, from secondary school,
right.
I decided to look for a job. And so I decided to look through the classifieds for a job. And there was a lingerie company looking for a shipping clerk. I had no idea. I knew what lingerie meant as a 16-year-old, but I didn't know what a shipping clerk meant. But I went and got the job, of course, and I started working in that company. It was in ladies' lingerie. And it sounded very exciting to a 16-year-old.
When you were born.
When I was born, yes. But I saw salesmen were all they're on commission, they're all earning a lot of money on commission checks. I was in the stock room, actually shipping their orders. I thought, I want to be a salesman. And so at the age of 17, I went to work in a dress company, the largest dress company in Canada. The ad was looking for a showroom salesman. So I thought to myself, you know, why not apply? So I went to apply. I said I was 22 years old. I was really
when
17.
You were 17,
yeah.
right?
I was dressed in a suit and tie. Took a chance. They gave me the job because everything that the ad wanted, all the qualifications, I said I had.
Okay.
So I was the perfect interviewer for HR. So they gave me the job. I started working there, and I did very, very well. But I had that entrepreneur spirit in me.
Yeah,
and
in your blood.
In my blood.
Yeah.
And I decided that I want to start my own business. I always look at things, I always say, if somebody else can do it, why can't I? So at the age of 19, I decided to start my own business, to open up an import company in ladies' sweaters and Hong Kong at that time was the factory of the world at that time. So I came to Hong Kong on a buying trip, and I started importing. I had a company called Jump for Charlie. And at the end of the first year in business, I made $1 million US profit.
Jeez.
I thought I'm rich.
Teenager.
I was 20 years old. Yeah, I sat down with the accountants at the end of the year in Canada. I said, I'll have a check for $1 million. They said, not so fast. I said, why? They said, you got to pay tax. I said, tax? How much? 50%, something like that in Canada. I think I wound up with $425,000. Still a lot of money for a 19-year-old. But I was in Hong Kong on a buying trip. I said, what's the income tax in Hong Kong? And they told me 15% at the time. Right? Wow, a bright light went off in my head. I figured I'll move to Hong Kong. I set up a trading company at the time called Kobe.
And made your fortune.
And made my fortune there. I did very, very well with that. Hong Kong was the head office, and then I built many other offices because that business was governed under quotas, so you had to keep opening other countries. When I sold it, we had about 35 offices around the world, offices in every country. And I used to travel a lot and go to all the countries, and so I learned how to do business in every different country. You know, every culture is different. But I still loved Hong Kong. That was the head office because there was limited government interference at the time. While I had Kobe, and I used to have a lot of buyers coming in from US, from Canada, from Europe, everyone coming in. We used to take them out to the factories to place orders. And basically, they didn't have a lot of street restaurants in those days. And so I decided that, okay, Hong Kong needs a place because we had so many international people from all over the world here and buyers coming and people living here from everywhere. Hong Kong needs a place like a Lan Kwai Fong, an entertainment place, more casual because it was too stuffy in a hotel and it wasn't my style. And so we opened up, I was looking around for places and someone came up with where California Tower is today in Lan Kwai Fong was an old, it was called
old building,
building, Keng Fung Supermarket. It was a supermarket on the ground floor, and so I decided to rent the space first, and I turned the supermarket into a club called California, and that was the thing that
the
started.
first one, right?
First one. And from there, I started to see the potential of the area. Hong Kong was changing at the time, and I thought we need an area like Lan Kwai Fong. And so basically started to buy up some of the property. Nobody knew what I was doing.
Right. You now have about 2/3 of the
Something like that.
right?
Yeah, something like that.
But you don't drink at all. I mean,
I
no
don't know.
alcohol.
I never drank. You know, that's the funny thing.
Yeah, that's
I
it,
mean,
you
and
know.
I know very little about alcohol, to be quite honest, but I sell so much.
Right.
Basically, even as a kid, I never drank a beer in my life.
Oh.
I drink.
Not even a sip?
I drink water. No.
All
I once tried a little bit of beer, and
you didn't like it?
I didn't like it. So at that time, I hired people that know about alcohol and know what to sell. As long as people like to drink, I'm happy.
You renounced your Canadian nationality and became a Chinese citizen in 2008.
Correct.
How do you feel about being the eighth?
Well, you know, because I'd done so much in China, you know, at a very early age. We had training companies there. And I decided China was changing dramatically. And I could see the changes taking place in China. My staff in China, some of them, their life was better than Hong Kong.
Yes.
You know, and they had bigger houses. They were starting to have cars. You know, everything was really moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
And so I thought to myself, you know, I've lived here most of my life now, and I got tired of being called a Guaylo, you know, because to me it was amazing that I loved Hong Kong, I loved China, I could see the energy here. And I hadn't been back to Canada in so many years. So I thought to myself, I'm more Chinese than I am Canadian, for sure. I didn't even know who the Prime Minister is, to be clear. I knew nothing about politics. And so I just decided, well, I woke up one day, I said, you know what, I want to become Chinese. I want to become local. I am local. I feel local.
Yes.
In many ways, I understand more about China, Hong Kong and China than many locals.
You have been living in Hong Kong for almost half a century.
Yeah, 50
and
years.
have held many positions, public positions. What changes have you noticed over the years?
Well, obviously, after 97, everybody was nervous because, oh my God, we're in the future, we're going to go back to China. Because you're used to being British. And I myself realized what was going on. And I thought to myself, this is really a good opportunity now to grow along with China, you know, because when the British were here, I was okay, but I wasn't so enamored with them, you know, because at that time Chris Patten was the last governor, and I was very friendly with him and his wife and whatever. I used to argue with them because I would say that China is very good and China is changing dramatically. Still had that old English mentality, you know, about, oh, the old China didn't know and China's bad. And I used to argue with them vehemently. Sometimes I'd have dinner with them.
Thank you, Alan.
But that was just my style. You know, me, I'd tell it the way it is.
Right.
And so...
You were just telling the truth.
No, exactly. And so 97 comes, and many people, as happened now, you know, many people left Hong Kong because they weren't sure, they want their children to have a good future and that kind of thing. I lived through it with Lan Kwai Fong. I lived through and watched many people emigrate to Canada, to Australia, to UK. But I thought to myself, 2 years later, I saw many people starting to come back again. Because, you know, in your mind you think, oh, it's a better place, it's good, it's not. But when you're there, whether you like it or not, you're different.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like a
second or third class citizen.
Second or third class citizen. So I thought to myself, so Hong Kong was really changing, you know, at the time. The big problem that Hong Kong made at the time was that we didn't have national education here. When I was a kid growing up in Canada, I used to salute the British flag every morning and sing God Save the Queen.
Yeah, the same.
In the US, we used to hold our hand on our heart and pledge allegiance to the flag, you know. In Hong Kong, young people didn't have to do that. Teachers could teach whatever they want.
They don't have national identity.
There's no national identity.
Right.
So after 97, many young people were saying, oh, I'm not Chinese, I'm Hong Kongese. Some were saying I'm British, some were saying I'm American. That we had a hodgepodge of many different things. And so that was, I think, the downfall of Hong Kong, that started when it started to go down, because too many opinions, too many divisions among society, you know. And so that I watched Hong Kong go through an adjustment period. And at one time, Hong Kong was here and China was here.
And now?
And what happened was China came here and Hong Kong got stuck.
The other way around.
Because LegCo, we talked about LegCo earlier, because of LegCo was stuck.
Yeah.
I did an article for Bloomberg, many years ago with my face on the cover with a big nose saying Hong Kong is stuck. Because I realized we couldn't get bills passed. Nothing could move. Without bills getting passed, government's hands were tied.
Right.
And so China was moving ahead, technology, finance, services, all the things.
Living standard, everybody enjoy life.
Was really enjoying.
Yeah.
And Hong Kong was nowhere. And so that was the biggest problem. One country, two systems needed a radical change. And of course, 2014 came along with Occupy Central, but it was so wrong because no other city in the world would allow one of the main thoroughfares to be blocked for 79 days. It was crazy.
Right.
And then of course 2019 came along, and that was really, all the years I've been in Hong Kong, I never experienced anything like that. That was not Hong Kong that we know. That's not the Hong Kong we grew up with. And again, a lot of confusion, a lot of problems behind the scenes. Social media really killed at that time.
A lot of fake news.
A lot of fake news, and people. And problem is, young people were just being mesmerized by, it's on the internet.
Fact check.
No.
Right.
Never do fact check.
Yeah.
And so if my friend is doing, I'm going to go along.
Yeah.
And it became orchestrated, some outside influences, many stories right now. And unfortunately, they're now paying the price. Good thing is about Hong Kong, we have an independent judiciary. Yep. We have judges from all over the world, including local, and so everyone has a fair chance. If you break the law, if you play with fire, you'll get burned. And that's what happens. So now many young people and many older people are really sitting in jail right now, paying the price for some of the havoc that they cause. And many are now saying, I feel sorry, because I see the light, and some will never do it. And some ran away, some left. Some of the troublemakers that started the whole thing are now sitting overseas.
Overseas and still continuing the propaganda.
Yes, being protected by totally different people. What they don't understand is the politicians in today's world. Unfortunately, we're living in the new Cold War. And because of the rise of China, Western countries are very nervous about China's rise.
They want to block us.
So they want to try to block. And so basically, what they're using, all these, what I call idiots, who are abroad, pardon the expression, but are using them, and they don't realize it because they don't care about those guys.
Yeah.
They care because they can hurt China.
Well, they are the victims themselves too.
They're the victims themselves because they don't realize, and they're really screwing up their life, And that's really something that I'm very adamant against because, Hong Kong is such a great place. Yeah. It's such a good place. It's safe. It's a place that is growing. It's a place that is moving. And now with LegCo, flexibility. Now with the new LegCo, everyone's a patriot. So everyone is on the same side. We can get things moving. China has 1.4 billion people. Yeah. Last year, Harvard University and York from Canada did a survey of the locals. What do you think of China? What do you think of your life? 93% of the population came back and said they respect the government, they respect China, they love their life, they're happy because their life has gone up. And I've watched it happen to many of my staff. But if you ask that question in, say, the United States, I'm not going to pick on the United States, you won't even get a 50-50. So
very low,
because the system doesn't work. Western systems at the moment, I'm not here to talk politics, but really Western systems just have their problems. And China continues because everybody works together. And if you work together, you have a chance to succeed well. If you have too many divisions, nothing works. The future for Hong Kong is very bright.
Besides being known as the father of Lan桂坊, you also served as the chairman of Ocean Park for 13 years on pro bono basis. What policies or projects did you initiate to turn things around?
Well, it was a good question. I mean, originally, I knew nothing about theme parks, you know, and at that time, Mr. Tung, C.H. Tung, was the chief executive.
Appointed you.
And Hong Kong was, at that time, Ocean Park was going through a difficult period because they were not making money, they're losing money, and it was like a government-run park, you know, and the government didn't know what to do with it at the time. Some people said close the park, some people said keep the park open, you know, move the park, it's on a hillside, move it to flat land where Disney, you know, where Disney is now. I got a call from Mr. Tung, he was a good friend of mine, and he said, Alan, I need your help. What's the problem? Ocean Park. It's losing money, we don't know what to do, the government, many people are giving different opinions about what to do with the park. I need you to become the chairman. I said, CH, I'm your friend, but you're crazy. Even though he's the chief executive, I said, I know nothing about theme parks. You know, I've never been to Ocean Park. He said, well, you know, you're creative. You can help. I said, let me think about it, right? I thought maybe he'll forget about it and go away, right? The good thing about CH, he called me 6 times.
Okay.
By the 6th time, I figured I better give him face, you know? I said, okay, let me go and take a look at the park. So when I went to take a look at it, the park was falling apart. The pavement was broken, the paint was peeling. It looked like it was closing down. And one thing I know from the retail business, you have to look like you're in business.
Yeah.
You want people...
Not a dying business.
No, you want people to really come back.
Right.
So I thought I could see it just needed some tender loving care, TLC, you know? It needed a few things like a paint job and fixing up some of the things. And also they were worried because Disney was coming to Hong Kong, the biggest name in theme parks, you know, in the world in theme parks. And so how could we exist, you know? And people got tired of losing money, you know, especially as public funds and that kind of thing. So I thought to myself, you know, it's very intimidating, but I have a saying, I look at things not for what they are. I look at things for what they could be. So I see things differently. When I went there, although it looked like it was falling apart, I saw it's on a hillside, and the chairman at the time said, oh, that's a problem because it's expensive to operate on a hillside. But other theme parks don't have that. They're on flat land. You have to build fake mountains. We have to, Mother Nature gave us the ability to have such beautiful, and you're overlooking Deepwater Bay. You have a cable car that's been, you know, at that time, 30 years, you know. So you have all these, I saw all these, the beauty of what it could be.
Opportunity.
Right. At that time, I knew nothing about theme parks, so I have to put together a strong management team. So I did a search around the world, and I brought back a very good chief executive, CEO, and came up with a beautiful plan, showed it to LegCo, showed it to the government, got everybody excited. And we built a strong team, management team, and slowly we got the money from LegCo, at that time 5.55 billion Hong Kong dollars. And we slowly started to do, turn things around. And again, we did things that, you know, we came up with new things that even Disney hadn't done, that on your birthday, because we wanted to make sure everyone can come to the park. And many people don't have money, you know, or to spend on their kids, whatever. On your birthday, you can come for free. Yeah, and you know, and people over 65 can also come for free. And we had the first press conference. And so I asked my marketing team, what are we going to do for the first press conference? Because I was just new to the park as chairman. And they told me, well, we're going to have 4 little girls going to be dressed like jellyfish. But I thought, well, I'm in a theme park. If I was in a bank, I'd be wearing a suit and a tie, you know. But in a theme park, it's fun. I said, well, what if I dress like a jellyfish? Not thinking anything of it. 2 weeks later, we have the press conference outside, all the photographers, the media, everyone. And I went to the dressing room, and I saw the 4 little girls dressed like jellyfish, and they gave me my costume. I put on the costume of a jellyfish. I look in the mirror, I look ridiculous. I think, oh my God, how can I go out? But it was already too late. When I came out, all the photographers, the press, everyone was laughing. The pictures, the next day, all of the newspapers every front page, the chairman of Ocean Park dressed as a jellyfish. That picture went around the world.
Right.
Every picture. Because if I was the chairman in a suit and tie, nothing.
Right.
Chairman of Ocean Park as a jellyfish, then I realized one thing. We didn't have the money that Disney had.
Yeah.
So I realized that every time we wanted to do an attraction or something, I would dress up.
Yeah.
Because it was free advertising.
Free,
I didn't have to pay
free
because I
advertising.
knew that the media needs a good story. After a few years, we won something called the Applause Award. That's like the Academy Award in theme parks. Best theme park in the world.
Yeah.
Never happened anywhere where a local theme park could beat all the big brands.
And they call you the Hong Kong's mouse killer.
Exactly. Because Forbes magazine did an article and the headline was Alan Zeman, the mouse killer.
Yeah. Who is the boss in the family? Your wife or yourself?
My wife says I'm the boss. I say it's easier if you let her think she's the boss. That's actually the right way for a happy marriage.
Okay. Would you like to share with us about your experience in the Lan Kwai Fong Chengdu Sichuan project?
Yeah.
Please.
Well, what happened was about 15 years ago, we decided we wanted to expand Lan Kwai Fong because we were getting calls every day from every city in China because China was changing dramatically 15 years ago. And so at that time, the party secretary in Chengdu came to visit me in Hong Kong 3 or 4 times, to my office. He had a site available there that buildings already built that originally they can do retail, but it wasn't working. And so he wanted to do a Lan Kwai Fong. Could we do something with it? I'd never been to Chengdu at the time, and so I went with Jonathan, my son.
He was very young.
He was very young.
Yeah.
And I decided that maybe we should do a Lan Kwai Fong because when I came to Chengdu, I realized it was a Sunday night. Went to the clubs, went to the bars, packed. In Saturday packed, Friday packed, Monday packed. I don't know when people work, but people in Chengdu, in Sichuan, they might not have as much money as people in Shanghai or Beijing or the north, but they really enjoy their life. It's a very cultured place. They love culture and they love to enjoy themselves. So I thought to myself, wow, this place can really be good. Right. So we took over the buildings and we bought them at the time because you couldn't redo the buildings or, because they're already built. They weren't built for clubs or restaurants. So we're trying to figure out how to make it work, It wasn't ideal. If I was building it myself, of course, I know what works. But it was not unlike Lan Kwai Fong in Hong Kong where we had to use some of the old buildings to put restaurants at every floor. No one ever did that before in Hong Kong. And so I decided we're going to do it. We bought it and we slowly started to put restaurants in and it took off. It was very, very successful at the beginning. Yeah, it was very, very successful. And then to the point that then a lot of kind of Lan Kwai Fongs all over China were growing because now people had more money, so they wanted to go out to enjoy themselves or whatever. Some people copied the name, and
do you have copyrights of the name?
We had copyright, but it's painful to go and try to sue people and all that. It's not my style, Anyways, people know what's the real Lan Kwai Fong. And at that time, China went through ups and downs and we did very well. At the end, I decided, why not try and get your money out and manage it? So we got a management contract. We sold it back to the government. They took over 100%. And because it wasn't something that I built. If I would have built it, I would have kept it, But it's something that I had to kind of improvise to make work.
You made some profit. Was it easy for you to transfer the money back?
Well, yes, because the way we put the money in, if you put the money in the right way, you can take it back the right way. China's actually, as long as you're playing by the law and following the law and following the rules, everything goes.
Good. Well, it must be difficult for Lan Kwai Fong Hong Kong in the past few years. How is it now?
Well, the last 6 months, I can honestly say it's been better than 2018. It's been better than pre-2019. Total recovery the last 6 months. And also the fact that the border has been closed with China, and also people can't travel because you have 21-day quarantine. So in effect, it's actually worked in the reverse. It's actually very good for areas like for the F&B business, for the restaurant business, club business. It's been excellent because people just decided Hong Kong is safe.
Yeah.
I can go out now. I can meet my friends because you can't go outside. You can't travel. And so Hong Kong, Lan Kwai Fong has become very...
They like the atmosphere there?
Well, they like the atmosphere. I mean, you have no choice, you know,
Yeah.
so you make the best of it. You meet friends and all that. So it's very busy now.
Right. Okay, what is your opinion on the establishment of the Culture, Sports and Tourism Bureau? What do you think is the synergy?
I think that it's actually, it'll be very good. I think that by keeping it together, but because sport is a culture, culture is a sport, you know, and entertainment the same thing. It's all part of one, you know. And I think that Hong Kong really is becoming a very cultured place. Hong Kong has changed as well. The Olympics, the Summer Olympics in Tokyo, in Japan. I mean, Hong Kong people did amazing. Made everybody proud. All the gold medals, the silver medals, all the medals that came back really made the government realize how important sport is.
And tourism.
And of course, tourism is another thing. You know, that of course we never have had a problem because we're part of China and we always had 66 million tourists, you know, so tourism has never been a problem here, you know. But we can also see that even without tourism, places have been able to survive.
Yeah. So how do you see the future of Hong Kong?
I believe very strongly that Hong Kong is turning the corner now. Now with this new LegCo, where bills could get passed, I think housing with the new Northern Metropolis will be a game changer, you know, for Hong Kong people. They'll have bigger houses to live in. Right now we have people waiting for subsidized housing for 7 years, 6 years, crazy amount of time, subdivided flats. All that's going to change. We have land now. I think the bureaucracy, and the government knows now, the bureaucracy has to change, especially in housing and all that. The laws are, some of them are 40 years old, you know. We need to be upgraded. China, you want to build something, you build it right away. Hong Kong, you go for public consultation, you go for the planning department, land department, town planning, all the headaches, you know. And so I think the government realizes that has to change.
We must act fast.
We must act fast. And so that's one thing. Technology was another area where we fell behind. Now, because of the Northern Metropolis, where we're going to be close to Shenzhen. Shenzhen is the world's capital, as far as I'm concerned, for technology. The Hong Kong Shenzhen Innovation and Technology Center that's being built, looked after by the Science Park. This will be something that will be a game changer for Hong Kong. We have 6 of the best universities. And so R&D from the universities can be amazing. You know, also biomedical is another thing where Hong Kong, you know, that will have land. We can do things with that land, you know, and get closer to Shenzhen, especially because of the Greater Bay Area. And all that things will give a great future for young people. I've said this quite often. In Singapore, the laws are much stricter than Hong Kong. But no one ever talks about Singapore. But in Singapore, 90% of the people own their own home. Lee Kuan Yew, when he was alive, realized that a house is a fundamental right for a human being. And so he made sure everyone can have a mortgage tailored to your income.
How should Hong Kong prepare for the 14th five-year plan?
Well, I think that, number one, Hong Kong needs to, it's like an airplane with 2 wings. China is on one wing, Hong Kong is the other wing. And we go together, we soar together, we fly together with China. And so the 5-year plan, getting closer with Shenzhen, Hong Kong, Shenzhen become brother and sister. Technology, we upgrade ourselves with technology. Education system, national education, now is going to be taught in the schools. In our airport, you know, I'm also sit on the board of the airport authority. And I'm the chairman of business development of the airport. You know, and so China, in the 14th five-year plan, has designated Hong Kong's airport to be the world airport, to really service all southern China, a hub. And so these are things that Hong Kong needs to follow. But implementation is the biggest problem. The things that we couldn't do before because of LegCo, now there's no excuse. So the chief executive, whoever the next chief executive is, must make sure that we implement, we unblock a lot of the blockages, change a lot of the bureaucracy, so that we can be part of the 14th five-year plan. That's something that's really, really important.
We can take advantage of that, right?
Take advantage of where we are and take advantage of the growth of China.
Right. We are part of China.
We are. And China needs one country, two systems, but with Chinese characteristics. We're the super connector between the East and the West and the West and the East. So Hong Kong needs to remain in that way. Hong Kong's people can really have a better life in the future.
Okay. Finally, any advice for our younger generation in Hong Kong?
Well, my advice for your younger generation is really look east, don't look west.
Okay.
The future is the growth, is China, and it's the growth of China. And since you are living in Hong Kong and you speak the language, and with the Greater Bay Area, go to China, travel China, like I did at a young age, understand everything, and you can be part of it. There's tremendous opportunities for young people. So, and if you have an idea, I sit on the board of Alibaba Entrepreneur Fund. So we fund young startups, Hong Kong young startups, who want to start up in business. Now, I say, look at technology, look at things that you love doing. And you have a dream, make your dream possible. So I tell young people, if someone else can do it, you can as well. It's not that somebody's smarter than you or whatever. They just think out of the box. And I tell young people, be positive, have confidence, love what you do, and I promise you, you'll be very successful here in Hong Kong.
Thank you, Alan.
My pleasure.
希望你能夠繼續唱好香港，同我哋一齊建設一個美好嘅香港。多謝你 ，Thank you。
多謝你。